Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Caitlin and I upload a whole bunch of different types of videos on this channel, mainly surrounding true crime and psychological cases, as well as a little bit of fashion and lifestyle sprinkled in where I can. Now today I'm back. I'm really excited actually to bring this video to you guys. Not only am I doing a solved case, which is something that you guys are always requesting more of, you seem to really enjoy me talking about these sort of solved true crime cases, but it's also actually a collab with the fabulous Joshua Miles, who is doing a huge collab over the month of June leading up to his birthday. And basically over on his channel, not only am I featured in a video at the same time as this video going up, there will also be a whole bunch of other true crime content creators over on his channel in the next few weeks. So if you aren't already subscribed to Josh, you need to, because if you do, you will have your subscription feed just absolutely filled with true crime cases from all of your favourite creators. So over on Josh's channel, like I said, there's a video going up at the same time in which we discuss another case, and I will be in that video. I have filmed part of that case, and just with that, over on this channel in this video, Josh will be in part of the video. So that's basically how this collab is working. Today's case that we're going to talk about on my channel is the solved murder of ARLIS Perry. Now there is a lot to do with this case because it went unsolved for a very, very long time. There were a lot of theories and speculation surrounding it because it was so unsure, like no one really knew anything at the time. There wasn't a lot to go on, and then more recent developments led to kind of an answer being given in the case. So if you want to hear about the case of ARLIS Perry, then keep on watching and we shall just get started. ARLIS Perry, born under the name ARLIS K. Dykema, was born on the 22nd of February 1955 in a place called Bismarck in North Dakota. This beautiful young woman grew up in Bismarck. She attended school, she got good grades, she lived a typical teenage life. During her high school life, she met a young man named Bruce D. Perry, who had been the same age as her. The pair entered into a loving and very, very stable relationship, making them high school sweethearts from a very young age. And then in the summer months of the year 1974, ARLIS and Bruce got married in their hometown in a very intimate ceremony. And from here, the pair were eager to start their life together as young newlyweds. Bruce was accepted into Stanford University as a pre-med student, and ARLIS made the decision to move out there with him, and so basically they can live together as newlyweds on campus. They moved into a place on campus known as the Village, just so that Bruce was guaranteed to be close to all of his classes and he didn't have to worry about anything. And basically ARLIS's focus was to find work in the nearby area, whether that be on campus or anywhere nearby, but the focus was on Bruce's education. As I said, after the move, ARLIS began to apply for work in the local area as just kind of an extra source of income, as a little bit of an extra guarantee for the young couple starting their adult lives together. And this is where she found a job in a small local law firm working as a receptionist. And overall, the pair appeared to be very well adjusted to their new life, with Bruce doing well in his studies and ARLIS already finding work. Nothing seemed to be troubling them. They didn't seem to have any issues settling down or anything along those lines. And no one knew of any major relationship troubles. They weren't seem to be having any arguments. Everyone knew them to be very, very happy. Then on October the 12th, 1974, the young couple found themselves in a minor disagreement, more of a squabble than anything. It wasn't a full-on argument, but it was in regards to their car, so they were literally just having a bit of a tiff about their car. Following their argument, ARLIS decided that she wanted to go to the Stanford Memorial Church, which was on the Stanford University campus, to kind of cool down. She wanted to pray alone, separate herself after the disagreement that she'd had with her husband. She informed her husband of this intention, and so they parted ways. At around 11:50 p.m. that night on October the 12th, ARLIS was seen entering the church as two people were leaving, and this was an eyewitness account by the security guard working at the church. At around 3 a.m. the following morning, Bruce found himself in their home waiting impatiently for ARLIS to return home, as she was supposed to have done so many hours before. He hadn't heard from her since they parted ways, and so, as I said, he had expected her to be back a long time ago. And so as time passed and early morning came, Bruce decided to ring the local police department for fear of his wife's safety. He told them flat out that he believed ARLIS was missing, as this was extremely out of character for her not to at least ring him and let him know that she would be out for longer than expected. And so early that morning, a number of officers were dispatched from the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office to check up on the church that she was known to have been attending the night before, where she told her husband she was going. But when they arrived at the church, they found all of the doors, every entrance possible, to be locked and no sign of anyone around. So they had no way of entering the church. They didn't have any keys to unlock it, so they couldn't enter until it opened up at its usual time later in the day. As well as this, they also presumably didn't have any reason to suspect that ARLIS might be inside the church, as you would assume that whoever locked up would have seen her and not locked up with her still inside. And then at around 5:45 AM, a man named Stephen Crawford, a campus security guard and also an ex-police officer for the Stanford Police, found himself doing his usual rounds, early morning checks of the church. He entered as he usually would, with no suspicion that anyone else had been there because he was the first person to open up the doors that morning. However, it was inside the church that he came across ARLIS Perry's body at the altar. She had been found without clothes from the waist down, with an altar candle having been inserted inside her, as well as one being placed upwards on her chest. And when she was found lying face up.
When they called in the local authorities and an investigation was launched, it was actually determined that she had suffered an injury to the back of her head, which was caused by an ice pick. And this ice pick had been driven into the back of her skull. The handle of the ice pick had broken off and couldn't be found anywhere near the crime scene. Investigators in subsequent examinations found that she had also been strangled. Semen was discovered on a kneeling pillow which was found not far away from the body, as well as a candle with a noticeable palm print on it. Some believe that the positioning of ARLIS's body and the positioning of the items found around her body resembled that of a pentagram, and so began the speculation that her death was a result of a satanic ritual. As it turns out, it was actually Stephen Crawford who had locked up the church the night before, and according to him, he had done so just before midnight. He then goes on to claim that at around 2 AM that same night, he went and did his final checks to make sure that all the doors were firmly locked closed, and that all the doors were exactly as he left them 2 hours prior at midnight. And then during his 5:45 AM check of the church grounds, he discovered that a door on the west side of the church had been forcibly opened, but from the inside. Stephen Crawford was inevitably examined and investigated as a potential suspect in this case, as well as Bruce Perry, but DNA testing was initially unable to provide any significant link. Now, it is known to the police and the investigators that there were around 7 people inside the church on the night of October the 12th and the following morning. However, amongst this 7 people figure was ARLIS Perry and Stephen Crawford. Outside of those 2 people, there were 4 other individuals who were actually positively and successfully identified. This meant that ARLIS, Stephen, and 4 other people were successfully identified and named and were accounted for, but the 7th person was not. When bystanders who weren't known to be in the area when these 7 people entered the church were questioned, only one witness claimed to have seen this unidentified male. According to him, he had sand-coloured hair. He was of a medium build and was about 5'10" to 5'11" inches tall. The witness placed this unidentified male to be at about 25 years old and described the unidentified male as wearing a short-sleeved blue t-shirt. In terms of suspects and theories, there have been many suspects and theories that have been considered in this case. One prominent one that sticks out that has been seriously considered in this case and widely suggested was the potential link with the serial killer, the son of Sam, otherwise known as David Berkowitz. And this was because David had allegedly mentioned ARLIS Perry's murder in one of the many letters that he had written. David Berkowitz was interviewed by the investigators in relation to this case on account of all the rumours that were circulating his involvement. However, when it came down to it, the experts who were with the investigators determined that it was quite unusual that David Berkowitz Berkowitz was putting forward these details about ARLIS Perry's murder without any pressure to do so. No solid or concrete links were ever found that linked David and ARLIS Perry's murder, and nothing was ever found to support this widely suggested theory. And it simply remains just that. A theory. Other popular theories mention the potential involvement of the Zodiac Killer, the Process Church of the Final Judgment, the Freemasons, and so on and so on and so on. If you want to find more of these theories, they're a bit crazy, then feel free to do your own research on this case. But at this point, and just like with the potential link to the serial killer David Berkowitz, they all just remain theories.
There had allegedly been a witness who'd claimed to have seen a flutist, so a musician, inside the church playing his instrument with a naked woman lying down in front of him while he was wearing a wig. Very strange sighting, very specific sighting. The wig, the person noted that it was an afro wig, and the woman in front of him was just lying down, but she apparently resembled ARLIS, and so this was taken into account. The woman on the floor, as I said, she had no clothes on, she was completely surrounded by candles, which obviously would match how ARLIS's body was found. Allegedly, this avenue was completely investigated. The witness was able to provide an identity of the musician. However, no leads came from it. I'm assuming they ruled him out, but nothing further was taken down that avenue. One very strange incident that occurred involving the unidentified young man that was known to have been in the church or near the church at the time of ARLIS's death had been on the day of ARLIS's funeral. One of ARLIS's co-workers actually at the funeral met her husband, so Bruce, for the first time. Since she'd only been at the job a little time, it wasn't really surprising that her co-workers hadn't met her husband, but this co-worker in particular, when she was introduced to Bruce Perry, found herself shocked. This was due to the fact that days before ARLIS's death, this very co-worker had witnessed ARLIS in a seemingly very heated argument with a young man, presumably in his mid-20s, with sandy-coloured hair. At the time, she had simply assumed that because she hadn't met her husband, that this was Bruce Perry and they were just having a quarrel. But obviously, upon meeting the real Bruce Perry, she found herself very confused as to who this young man was. There is a lot to be found online in regards to all of the theories and the details of this case. There's a lot of speculation, basically, because like I said, there wasn't a lot of leads apart from this unidentified man. It was kind of just very, very up in the air, and there wasn't really a lot they can do. And so as a result of many years of it being a cold case, there was a lot of theories, speculation and everything, as previously mentioned. So there is simply too much information in regards to all of these theories put into this video. But if there is a particular theory that you wanted to just research yourself, you found interesting and you wanted to see kind of the thought behind it, then go give it a search. I guarantee you there will be a lot of discussion on it online because everything has been very, very, very detailed and explored in a detailed way. I said that in a very weird way. Despite there being so many theories, they are now theories because, as I said at the start of this video, this case is now solved. The most recent update in this case came last year in 2018 when advancements in DNA testing actually allowed investigators to revisit some of the initial evidence found at the scene of ARLIS's body and name one of the previously named suspects as being the perpetrator of the crime. Stephen Crawford's DNA, so the campus security guard who had discovered ARLIS's body in the church, his DNA had actually been matched to that found at the scene of ARLIS's murder, and so immediately investigators issued a search warrant. However, when the detectives arrived at Stephen Crawford's home just to simply issue the search warrant, he refused to let them in the home, but very soon they realised that he actually was holding a handgun. The officers backed away from the door because they presumed that they were actually in danger, that he was threatening them, but as they backed away from the door, they heard a gunshot coming from inside the apartment. Stephen Crawford had committed suicide by gunshot. That's everything I'm actually going to discuss today. I feel like it was a very abrupt ending, but it always does feel like that with solved cases because obviously we have an answer now. Stephen Crawford's DNA was matched to all of the DNA found at the scene all these years later, which thankfully there was some justice served. So I just want to say a huge thank you to Joshua Miles for being a part of this video, but also being the one to complete and organise all of this amazing collab that you guys, I'm sure, are going to absolutely love. I can't wait to see all the videos that are going to be popping up on my feed this next month. So like I said, go over to Josh's channel and subscribe if you haven't already. I will also have a link to as many of the creators that I'm aware of being a part of the collab down below, so you can check all of their channels out, and obviously you can see their videos that they're doing with Josh, because there are some phenomenal creators that I'm sure many of you guys haven't even heard of, because they deserve a lot more recognition. So check out the description for loads and loads of other creators. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys very soon for another video. Thanks for watching. Bye.